First off, I'd like to say I got a lot of respect for LSU players and staff. We've watched those guys lose some tight games. Kentucky won. It's awfully tough. They played Arkansas really tough. They just lost a one-possession game at Texas, who we lost to at home. So for them to play as hard as they're currently playing and keep fighting, they were down 16 with 7 minutes to go and fought all the way back and cut it to a 6, I believe, at one point there, a little late. You got to give them a lot of credit because they could easily not do what they did tonight based on some of the tough, close 1-2 possession losses that they've had. So a lot of credit to them. They ended up, we were even with them on the glass. They out-rebounded us on the offensive boards. We've got to do a better job. They had 3 different guys with over 5-0 boards, so we've got to do a much better job on the defensive glass. But, we made some pretty tough plays too. I thought that was the best game Aden Holloway's played on the defensive end all year. We started out with the matchup on McKinnon. Max ended up playing 30 minutes, took 16 shots, led their team in field goal attempts, and I believe it's the second game during SEC play. Didn't have double figures, so pretty impressive job. And it wasn't just Holloway all the time. Rachel came in, did a great job as well as some other guys. But I really thought, Aiden's attention to really give us great effort on defense really showed up. He ended up with the 2 steals. I thought his defensive leverage was tied with the highest on the team, him and Aiden Sherrell. So I liked where his head was at. We didn't shoot it particularly well. Him and Reitzel combined to go 2 for 11. Those guys had been shooting it really well. So we got to get our legs back up under us. Obviously, the double overtime game on Wednesday, may have still been a little bit to do with that. I don't know, but we'll be off tomorrow. Get their legs back under them by Wednesday, against Mississippi State. Hopefully we can keep the defensive effort from the guards, and particularly Reitzel and Holloway, and then, get a lot better on the glass, rebound it better, keep Aiden Sherrell out of foul trouble. Him fouling out, and him only being able to play 20 minutes tonight really hurt us because he in 20 minutes he had 4 blocks, he had a double-double. He was really doing some damage in there. So for him to foul out, that really hurt us. But we've got to have some guys be able to step up because he may be in foul trouble like in March and whatever, and we got to get some other guys play a little bit better when he's out of the game and rest him. So, but good road win. We've got 4 games left. We got to stay locked in. We got Mississippi State coming. They just beat Auburn middle of the week, and Hubbard had 46, so we're going to have to be ready to play against them.
You mentioned Holloway's defense, but just how do you think he handled the offensive load with LeBaron playing a lower minute total tonight?
Yeah, I thought he was better. He didn't shoot it as well as he usually does, but that's fine. Nobody's going to shoot it great every game. He had 4 assists, 1 turnover. We were plus 16 when he was in the game. He was, his offensive leverage was positive too. He's good. I thought he ran to him. He got downhill, got to the free throw line. Went 6 of 6 at the line. Like everything except for the threes, which I thought he got pretty good looks. He just missed them. So we'll sure he'll be in the gym. He didn't like missing shots, so he's I don't think he'll shoot 1 for 6 from 3. At least I hope not. And if he does, it's fine. Get 6 great shots up. He may go 6 of 6 next game. So I thought he was good on offense. I thought he did a good job leading the team. I thought he handled their physicality pretty well. I thought he led the team. And Barron's obviously banged up. Played a lot of minutes Wednesday night. We held him out of practice. He had just a lot of basketball bumps, bruises. Just couldn't get loose. He didn't practice. We didn't practice Thursday. We just did video and a short walkthrough. Friday he didn't practice at all. We were hoping he'd feel better today, and he did, but he still wasn't anything close to where he needs to be. So it'll be good to have tomorrow off we'll have to try to manage his workload in practice Monday, Tuesday, and see where we can get him on Wednesday. But thought Holloway did a really good job.
You mentioned yesterday this kind of being a maturity test for this group. How do you think they handled today on that standpoint?
You know what? I'm a teacher. Don't say I'd give him an A, but wasn't enough either. It's probably somewhere in the BC category. I thought the start of the second half looked like what we needed it to look like. I thought there was stretches in the first half that looked better. I was really happy with Holloway's defense. Start of the second half seemed like everybody really picked it up. We gave up 3 boards there in the first 4 minutes, and that was really the only way they were scoring. If we had cleaned up the glass a lot better, we could have opened up a 20-plus point lead to start second half. But that's been an issue of ours. We haven't been able to rebound it well. So I thought our intensity, our attention to detail on the defensive end, just our overall effort, start second half was great. And then, we eventually built up the lead to 16, and then we didn't close like we needed to. We couldn't get stopped. Last 2 minutes, I don't think, until the very last stop, we didn't get stopped, I don't feel like. So, we kept going down, for the most part, making 2 free throws, but it just kept going back and forth, and they got tied us up. They had the possession arrow, then they went from 8 to 6, and then we didn't do a great job closing the game, in my opinion.
What kind of a step forward do you think London took today with his performance?
Yeah, I thought that the offensive rebounds were huge. He had 3 boards. The steal late in the game with the floor dive, huge play from a freshman. We need him to continue to play more and more minutes, with Taylor still being banged up. And, he was good. I thought some guys that played, in limited roles at times, I thought stepped up. I thought Jalil's minutes were good for us. He gave us some real effort there. So, London's continuing to come if he can keep crashing the old boards and getting on the glass like that. And, he knocked down a big 3 and made some pretty solid defensive plays.